Hello, my name is Hakon and welcome back to my channel, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados. Last episode I was playing this and I got to the point where I need 3 keys, at which point I only had 1 key. And so in this episode I'm going to step back a little bit to the point after I cross a river and go a different direction and see if that gives me any other key, and if it gives me an opportunity to go back and get the key that I already had as well. So this is a pure continuation of the previous episode. I'm not going to recap too much. I would say just watch the previous one if you want to know what's going on. You are basically trying to save the princess. Yes, it is that kind of story. Yeah, we don't get that many saving the princess stories in fighting fantasy, but this is one of them. Okay, so let's just get started. So down here on my desk, pen's getting a bit dodgy, so I am generally now only using it for the red, and I've got some other pens here that I use for my other ones, and I'm starting here back where I left off in my previous episode. I got to the end bit where I need 3 keys to get into Arachnos's lair. Arachnos, the evil one who's kidnapped the princess. And in this one, I have decided that I will go back to where I crossed the river. And instead of going, so the river is here on the east, and instead of going north or west, which leads me to the village of the Flintskins, where you get one of the keys. I'm going to go south and see if that helps me in any sort of way. So I'm going to go to 355 and see what happens. After a while, you come across a well. There is a bench beside it on which you are grateful to rest. Despite the well's obvious age, it looks clean and tidy, as if it has been properly maintained. A wooden bucket hangs from a chain. It is true that you are thirsty and your flask also needs topping up. Will you drink from the well or not? Could be a trap, but I'm going to drink from the well because I'm thirsty and my flask needs topping up. I think I'm going to go with my reading glasses again today. 3 for 1. You let the bucket down the wind, then wind it back up, full of clear water. You dip your hand in and sip carefully. The water is refreshing and cool, and is a subtle poison, whose action may be triggered later in your adventure. Write well on your adventure sheet, then turn to 42. Okay, so well, poison. Well, so I'm presuming that that is a bad thing, and one shouldn't really do it. Okay. You press on towards the south, wondering whether you may have made a mistake. By mid-afternoon, you reach an enormous landslip, and now you find yourself at the top of an unscalable cliff. You can hear a waterfall off to your left. That must be yesterday's river. The view is wonderful, but you are not here to be a sightseer, so you turn west along the edge of the cliff. The unusual terrain is home to many rare plants, and to some not-so-common creatures too. Out of nowhere, you are suddenly attacked by a huge pterylin whose nest is perched on the cliff face. Its feathers are as black as night, glowing with a brilliant blue sheen in the sunlight. Its talons are dripping gore from a recent kill, but it is always hungry for more. If you win and you have a rope, you can let yourself down to its nest. I don't have a rope. If you wish, turn to 285. Okay. Otherwise, you continue westwards. Turn to 368. So we have here okay, so 285 nest rope. 368. Now, I'm playing in a very flexible way these days. I'm going to just double check now something, because I believe that there is a chance now that this is the location of one of the other keys. But it might not be. It sounds like it's quite a complicated thing going on down there in the nest. So I don't know if that actually is an essential thing. I'm believing it might actually be. So where does one get the rope? So I'm going to pause now and do a little timeout. Where does one get the rope? So I'm wondering if there's something at the beginning of the game that I missed, and some essential items. Now, sallow oil seems to be useful but not needed. A rope might actually be essential, and I'm wondering if this is something that one might acquire in the marketplace, and if there is a chance of getting that from the marketplace. Because what I did in the beginning was, of course, I didn't do the second tavern properly, because I went after the crone with the heather. And I'm wondering if that was my crucial mistake, that if I'd stayed in the second tavern, that I would have ended up in a different path, and also would have had a chance perhaps to go to market before going off on my adventure and being able to buy some things. Because it seems like the amount of gold you have in the beginning, it can go up and down a little bit, might actually be crucial to your success in the game, because you might have to buy the right items, and that's where the market comes in, and I haven't been to the market. So I'm wondering if I've just missed something right at the start of the game. There are various articles you can buy from the stalls in the market, it says here. So if you go to the market and you have sallow seed oil, tinderbox and flint, old boots, gilded arrow, lodestone, silver pearls, rope, throwing knife, fishing net, copper pendant. Now, so I know that throwing knife has been mentioned also a few times, and rope. So, and it looks like after the market you can go to the docks, which is where I went first. So you can do them in a different order, which means that the correct order of things as you leave town is to first go to the market and then to the docks. And then you go around and do stuff, and then you eventually leave. So, because it looks like rope might be crucial. So I'm going to say now that I go back to the... I'm going to be very flexible now. So let's pretend that I'm doing a new playthrough now, and I'm going to do the same that I did yesterday when I played this. My previous video, I should say. I'm going to post these two quite close together so that people want to keep the continuity can do so. And I'm going to first of all check out the second tavern and see if there's anything there that I missed. So after I went to the first tavern, and then I got some useful things from that, I'm going to the second tavern and see what happens. So I'm going to investigate the gambling wheel at the back of the tavern. 28. So the huge gaudy gambling wheel stands upright against a wall at the back of the tavern. If you pay her... Who? The gambling wheel. If you pay her a gold piece, the innkeeper's beautiful assistant will spin the wheel for you. If the wheel stops at the number you bet on, you win double your stake. If not, you lose. Tonight your luck is in. Roll 1 dice. This is the number of gold pieces you win at the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So I won only 1. So I'm going to go and put those options up there. So if you want 5 or 6, go to 329. 329, 5 or 6. Otherwise, turn to 388. So go to 388. Okay. So I'm going to go to 380. Let's see what happens if you win 5 or 6. Yeah, you actually get robbed if you win 5 or 6. That's a bad thing. 388. And then you, oh, hang on, 388. We already have 388 because that is going back to the boat for the night. So basically, going to the second tavern is just a way of possibly making a little bit more money. Okay, so we know that. And then you get to, of course, to the next day. You go to the police. You get your reward. And of course, there were other options for rewards. I'm just going to check back now and see if there are any others. You could a truth stone, which seemed to be an essential item, which is what I picked because that makes Baron von Saun, or whatever his name was, say that it is Arachnos who's behind these things, which seemed to make a difference later. And then you can go to market. So this is the market is actually now the only difference it seems like between with these playthroughs. So it's a market. So I'm just going to make a note of the items here. So 2 gold pieces for each. So you can actually buy several of these. So what I'm going to do now is in my playthrough, I'm going to be a little bit flexible because I don't want to play these too many times and just go over the same ground again. I'm going to sort of be a bit flexible about which items. So 150 items. I'm just going to look that up when I need an item to see if that is something I could have bought at the marketplace. So I'm going to be really flexible now about it. And at the moment, it is only really the rope that seems to have been an essential item. Okay. So now, let's go back to where we started our episode. So let's say I did that in the beginning and I bought the rope at the market. And I've sort of cleared the second tavern isn't really needed, but of course you can win some gold, up to 4 gold. If you win 5 or 6, you actually get robbed of 8 gold. And then you go to this bit south and you can go into the nest of the what was it called, the terror or something, and that is an extensive bit of paragraphs linked together here, so I don't know exactly what's going on. I'll just give it a really quick glance. So 285. You know that Terralins are notorious for hoarding any trinkets they may find in the clothing of their victims. Because my theory now is that there might be another key down here. Locate the nest, secure the rope round a tree and abseil down. The nest is on a ledge, but behind it a tunnel extends into the cliff. Will you rummage through the debris in and around the nest, turn to 267, or investigate the tunnel first? So, I'm going to check out the nest first. 267. I'm not sure if the order is important now. But certainly the tunnel seems to be more complex than the nest. So I think the nest and then a tunnel makes more sense. You find a silver whistle with an inscription in ancient Kabeshian, which you now know well from your days at the academy. The inscription reads, "Follow me," and you can also discern the number 333. Okay, so this is any numbered item I always find is crucial. So 267, follow me, 333, whistle. Okay. You blow into it and enjoy its clear, high notes. But nothing else happens, except that you attract the attention of the Terralin's mate. Like all the males of the species, this one is bigger and stronger than the female you have already met. Will you escape down the tunnel or stand and fight? 116. Going down the tunnel is still an option after winning, but of course then also going back is an option after winning. Just thought I'd check that. So I'm going to go down the tunnel actually while I'm actually at 116. So yeah, just to double check. So you can, after 268, you can go there, or you can also go, which is just leave. But 208, of course, the tunnel is interesting. I want to have a little look down there. This may be a wild goose chase, but there you go. A short way down the tunnel, you come across the sticky strands of a giant spider's web. Worse, you come across the spider itself. Its ability to see in the dark makes it more than a match for most people in tunnels like this. Well, spiders can't see in the dark, can they? Not really. If you win, you slash through its web and hear an ominous rumbling. You just have time to sprint forward to avoid a cave-in. There is no turning back now. The tunnel mouth is blocked. Cross the rope off your adventure sheet, then turn to 18. So if this is where you needed the rope just to get down to the nest, of course, then it's, yeah. If you need it again later, that means that the correct way to do this section is to go down to the nest, rummage around, find the whistle, fight the male bird, go back up again, retrieve your rope, and then move on. So I know for the future, if you need the rope again after being at this point, then that is the correct way to do this section. So 118 minus rope. As you may awake down the tunnel, it gets smaller and smaller until you are wriggling along on your stomach, with your sword probing the blackness ahead. You are beginning to wonder if this tunnel will be your tomb. It becomes impossible to keep your backpack on your back. Will you loop it around your belt and trail it behind you, or push it ahead of you along with your sword? Now, it will be better to drag it behind, I think, because so you can see where you're going and things. So I'm going to... Oops, wrong color. So behind or in front, really. So 193 and 344. So that's front or behind. Oh, hang on. I was looking at the wrong thing now. 377. I just looked at the paragraph above. 377 or 175. 175. So 377. I'm going to go to 377. If you have a shield, turn to 26, otherwise turn to 349. So shield is one of the things you could have chosen as a reward instead of the truth thing. The truth, what it called again? I can't remember exactly what it was called. The truth stone, truth serum thing. The thing that made somebody say the truth anyway. Which of course I'm not 100% sure whether that would have made a difference yet. Yeah, because I haven't checked that. So, shield. So maybe the shield is the essential thing. I don't know yet. So we have shield 26, shield, or 349. No shield. When a small fireball hurtles down the tunnel towards your face, you have no means of protection. You bury your face in your arms, but you must still lose 4 stamina points. Minus 4 stamina. Turn to 199. There is no going back, so whatever the source of the fireball may have been, you are going to have to face it. You continue creeping down the tunnel on your belly, and all of a sudden, the tunnel ends at a small underground cavern. On the floor of the cavern lies a pool of bubbling lava, which occasionally emits fireballs at random intervals and in random directions. There are narrow ledges around both the left and the right-hand walls of the cavern. This sounds a bit like Minecraft to me. You can take either one, but you will have to reach a tunnel opening on the other side of the cavern before you are overcome by the heat and the fumes. Roll 1 dice 3 times, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, this is just the difference between rolling the dice and rolling the dice, in which case I'm going to do my usual thing and ignore the randomness and pick the optimum choice, because if you keep doing it over and over again, you will eventually prevail. 10 to 18, 3 to 9. 3 times, make a note of the sequence of numbers as well as the total. So 22 is the one that is the end. And so 252 is where you succeed. If with your second dice roll you will roll 1 to 5, 10 to 2, 15. So well, I was going to do those over there actually. So 2, 15, 1 to 5, 1, 5, 1, 6. I presume a 6 is when you get hit in this case. Because it's a random direction. If with your third dice you rolled 1 to 4, 10 to 15. If you rolled 5 to 6, 10 to 3, 24. 3, 24, 5 to 6. Again, I'm going to say I rolled a 1 to 4 and go to 15. There we are. You made it. You crawl along the passage beyond the lava pool while your ears strain in dread of hearing another fireball approaching behind you. Luckily, nothing happens, and you eventually break through the far end of the tunnel. You stand and greedily gulp in great lungfuls of air. Even the bitter air of Deathmoor tastes sweet after your ordeal. You press on with your quest. Turn to 382. So, this concludes the underground bit, and it seems that the only thing that happens down here is you lose your rope and you can die. But you also possibly end up somewhere else. So that means that there's still a chance that there's something here that you would have missed otherwise, but it sounds to me like your rope may be useful later and this is where you lose it. So this whole thing might be the wrong thing. 382. Regain 1 luck point. Okay, that's good anyway. For having survived Deathmoor so far. Night is drawing in as you approach a small hillock. There is something on top of the hillock. A pile of rock, perhaps. You can either investigate it or ignore it. If in doubt, investigate. So ignore 144 or 139. Investigate. So I'm going to investigate it and go to 139. On closer inspection, the jumble of rocks turns out to have some kind of order to it. In fact, the stones form a dolmen, a rough and ready tomb from ancient times. This would make an ideal place to spend the night, but first you have to clear out the ghoul which has made this place its home ever since it sucked out the spirit of the dolmen's long-dead inhabitant. Skill 8-7. Yeah. If before the fight is over you lose 4 attack rounds, turn to 53. That's when you get paralyzed and then you get eaten. Lose 4 attack. If you win, you settle down for the night but find that your lamp was broken during the fight. Turn to 106. Minus lamp. And if you don't have a lamp to see by, how do you know that your lamp is broken? That's a little paradox for you. You enjoy a refreshing sleep which restores 2 lost stamina points. In the morning you find a piece of sharpened flint among the rocks. Okay, So you find flint. So 106. Oops. 106 flint. Possibly evidence of a long forgotten culture. A steep ravine rises a short distance away to the north, and you have come from the south. So will you now head east or west? So we have, just move a bit up here. For west or 399 east. I'm just a bit curious now. 368. Just check where you end up. If you came from the other direction, where would you have ended up? I'm a bit curious about that. So, yeah. There seems to be lots of little bits and bobs here. So this is actually, I mean, you are sort of outdoors, but it's still a dungeon crawl, really, isn't it? West or east? I'm going to go east 399. Before you have been traveling for more than an hour, the mists come down to surround you. They are so impenetrable that before long you are completely lost. Is that patch of mist thicker than the rest? You strain your eyes, but soon it dawns on you that you are faced by a mist demon, wielding a scepter of adamantine ice. So 7-6. And also interestingly now you notice paragraph 400 is not the victory paragraph in this one. Which is interesting. That indicates to me that perhaps the victory paragraph is a secret paragraph, that one you have to get some kind of code to get to. Although I think they should still reserve 400 for what you're led to afterwards, but there you go. Or maybe it's a way to prevent you from looking for the paragraph that says go to 400. So it might actually be an anti-cheating mechanism. If you win, you blunder on, hopelessly lost, for hour after hour. Once you nearly fall over a cliff, and once you have to pull yourself back by your fingertips as you dangle over a crevasse. Eventually, however, the mist clears as suddenly as it appeared. Turn to 379. And that is where you get up, where you go north. And then you get to the village. And now you have the flint, so of course that helps. So again, that means all this bit leads up to where I've been before. So the way this is structured now, that indicates to me still there must be something crucial down here. Of course, I got the 333 follow me clue. Is there a key down here as well is the big question. So I'm wondering if, as I was saying earlier, and I do apologize if it's hard to follow this now, I'm going to go you through my logic. So instead of going north and getting to the Flintskin village, as I did last time, I went south, got to that bird's nest, and then I went down into the cave, which doesn't seem to do anything for me. So if I stand and fight the male bird as it comes back after blowing the flute, I will fight it, and I will keep my rope. And I will go westwards here. So I'm going to try that as well. So I'm going to play this in a slightly different way today. Because I don't want to redo the same road over and over again. So I'm going to be slightly more flexible in my approach to this now. Keeping the cliff to your left, you continue westwards, following the movement of the sun overhead. The sun is dropping low over the horizon ahead of you when you come to a fork. The same landslip which caused the cliff to your left also formed a secondary gully, running parallel to the cliff and sloping gently downwards. You can continue to the west along this gully, or you can turn slightly to the north past it. I'm going to check out the gully and go to 25 gully, or 292 north. The rocky faces on either side of you are pitted with natural depressions, some only big enough for a bird to nest in. Others almost cave-like. There are also fissures in the ground, none of which are too wide for you to step over. The gully is narrow and, at this time of day, almost dark, but as you step over one fissure, you catch a glint of something white in it. Will you stop to investigate or carry on? So I'm going to investigate, of course. 1, 2, 1, investigate, or 1, 4, 6. Continue, I'll just put, okay, 1, 2, 1, investigate. You kneel and peer into the crack. A few centimeters down is a small ledge, and the white object that caught your eye turns out to be the skeleton of a small animal, perhaps a hedgehog. Will you leave it alone and hurry on, or poke around in the fissure? Well, I'm still a bit curious what's going on there. Might be something interesting in there. So I'm going to poke around. See what that. You draw your sword and insert its tip into the fissure. This gully is sacred to a tribe of primitive cave people who propitiate the subterranean powers that cause the landslip with offerings of small animals. They have been watching your progress along the gully, and by poking your sword into the crack, you have insulted their gods. There you go. Religion is a good thing to have in these books because it's an important part of world building. Behind you, they trundle a huge spherical boulder out of one of the caves and send it rolling down the slope towards you. Another pop cultural reference, of course, Indiana Jones in this case. The rumbling, crashing noise it makes as it gathers speed alerts you to your danger, and you whirl around. You try to outrun the boulder, look for a fissure wide enough or a cavern deep enough to hide in while the boulder thunders past, scale one of the pockmarked rock faces, or try to leap over the oncoming boulder. So I'm going to conclude that this is not the right thing to do, even though there still seems to be options. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them to be, in fact. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 3, run. 3, 4, 5, hide. 1, 6, 3, climb. 2, 4, 9, leap. So 3, 2, 4. Let's see if any of these options are actually viable. Seems they all lead to death of 1, 4, 6, 3, 8, 2. Okay, so let's just ignore. Let's just say I didn't do that. I didn't insult the gods. I'm going to go to 1, 4, 6. The 3 angry cavemen suddenly appear from among the rocks. I suppose those are the same ones that rolled the boulder, actually. The terrain allows 2 of them to attack you with their clubs at once. Blah blah. Choose which 2. If you defeat all 3, leave the gully, scramble up, and then you go north 382. Okay. Wrong one again. 382. Okay. It looks like 292. The other direction also leads to 392 via a monster. So regain 1 luck for having survived, blah blah blah. Okay, so even though you use a lot of luck, there are a few points here where you actually gain luck. Oh, hang on, 382. Did I not see that one before? Or is it just an identical one? Where was it I got 1 luck point? Aha! 382 is the one I got down here. So that means 382 is here. Which means that I now got here, that is, what was the option again there? Ignore it. So I'm walking in a circle here, it seems like. So you can go west, east, 2, 4, 6. Okay, so it looks like the options lead you all to west over here eventually. So that is the way to go. I'm going to go west this time. And it says that you have scarcely entered the margins of a marsh when the mists come down. You try to retreat out of the marsh, but whichever way you turn, you seem to be going deeper into it. You sit shivering for hours on a grassy tussock, but it looks as though the mist will never clear. You hope that you can catch a glimpse of the sun to restore your sense of direction, as well as your hope, but the mists are too thick. And eventually you are no longer sure whether it is daytime or moonlit night. Will you sit and wait a little longer or get up even though any movement seems hopeless? I'm going to wait, I think. I think it's a bit scary to leave when you don't know where you're going. You'll get lured into a crevice or something. 212, 212, wait, or 236, go. The laziness is one of the magical effects the mist exerts upon you. You sink deeper and deeper into depression as if the bog itself was sucking you down. But resolve still flickers in some corner of your mind, though it will take great mental strength to summon it up. Roll 3 dice. Okay, so and 2, 3, 6 or 2, 8, 8. So that is so stamina plus minus. Okay, so I'm going to roll. Say I did rolled lower than my stamina to go to 2, 3, 6, and it says you force yourself to get up and carry on, reminding yourself of the old proverb that where there's life, there's hope, which I believe that's Cicero, isn't it, from Rome? I suppose that is a reference to our world again, not as anachronistic as Mario and Luigi, Mario Brothers, but there you go. Your mind sparks into action again. If you have a lodestone and a needle and some thread, turn to 170. Okay, so this is again things I could have got in the market. So I will check what happens if I have them and if that is something that sounds like it makes. Excuse me. So it looks like I can make a compass. So 290, no, or 170. Lodestone, needle, thread. So I'm going to see what happens if you don't have those, if that is the end or if it's something else. You are completely and hopelessly lost. Only luck will see you through the marsh in these mists without a compass. As long as you are in this state, you will not be offered a choice of direction, since you have no means of knowing what direction you are going in. So now turn to either 54 or 154. Okay, so it sounds like it's very useful, but maybe not essential, but essential in actually knowing where you're going. So I'm going to go to 170 now. Remember what a wizard once taught you. If you charge the needle with the magic of the lodestone and let it hang parallel to the ground from a piece of thread, the needle will point roughly north. Not exactly, mind you, the gruff old wizard had said, just roughly. He hadn't been able to explain why this worked, but just put it down to earth magic. You hastily get the equipment together, then you sit down and rest the needle on your thigh while trying to tie the thread onto the middle of the needle. Roll 2 dice. So skill. Okay, so we've got 89 or 134. Success or fail. 3, 4. Okay. So I'm going to say I was successful in my skill test to make a compass. You succeed in tying the thread onto the needle in such a way that the needle is swinging free and horizontally. You rest the needle on the lodestone where it sticks, then you wait a few minutes for the magic to transfer from the stone to the metal needle. This is very good because obviously this is not magic, it's science. But of course, if you don't know the science, it is magic. That is what magic actually is. There is no less magic in the world today than there was 1,000 years ago, or 2,000 years, or 10,000 years. It's just that we understand how things work. So that's the good perspective on it, I think. You don't know where you are, but you do know that you enter the marsh from the east and south. It makes sense then to assume that the further side of it may be reached by going to the west or to the north. 34, 3, 6, 1. Okay. So I'm just going to move up here. So west, what was it? 34 or 361. 34 west, 361 north. Yep, yes. So I'm going to go west again, 34. I don't really know exactly where Arachnos' lair is now because I went via the Finskins village earlier. Before long, you reach a place where the tussocks of mud and grass grow sparser and there is more water in between. Will you carry on into this region or go north? So, more muddy, that sounds like a bad idea. 221, 221, swamp or north 207. I'm going to go north now. You trudge on with a feeling of fear and hopelessness. Some marshes in Cool are home to rare creatures, and this one certainly is. Samerls are creatures frozen in time, relics from millions of years ago. Yeah, well, you wouldn't know that, would you? Absolutely not. Have you carbon dated them? Have you studied their genetics? Have you studied fossils? No. You wouldn't know any of those things. To you, they're just monsters. Half fish, half reptiles. They're amphibious and store their meat underwater until it rots. A full-grown male Samerl, like the one facing you, can be 2 meters long and weigh up to 100 kilos. Its squat body is solid muscle, and a flick of its tail can kill many creatures. If they survive, its claws and the tusks protruding from its upper and lower jaws. Skill 6, stamina 14. 6, 14. Every time you win an attack round, you must roll 1 dice to see if you manage to avoid a slashing tail. Blah, blah, blah. If you survive, turn to 24. I'm just double checking now that I didn't miss something crucial. Might do. Yeah, okay. Because I'm playing it quite flexibly now, I found out that there is a key that can be found if I go into the swamp. So that means that in order to win this game now, I'm actually off in the wrong direction again. So I will have to go west into the swamp to find what is for me the second key. So I know I'm cheating quite a bit today. I do apologize, but I'm sort of trying to play this in a pragmatic way. I'm still enjoying the atmosphere. Actually, I quite like this game. I mean, I like the. I know it. I've heard some negative things about it, but I'm actually quite enjoying it. It hasn't been that sort of cop out short paragraph thing that some people go on about. I feel like there's quite a bit of ground to cover just to go on the right path to get through this. So actually, there's more than in some of the more linear ones. So it feels okay to me so far. So I'm going to go into the swamp. And it says here, you will have to leap from one tussock to the next, so you carefully store your precious compass away in your pouch first. Sensible? In order to negotiate 6 tussocks, roll 1 dice 6 times. If the number rolled is ever the same as the number of the tussock you are jumping for, that is, if you roll 1 for the first jump, 2 for the second, etc., you miss the tussock and fall into the water. Turn to 387. If you reach the 6th tussock unscathed, turn to 318. So I'm going to say that I do that. So 318 fall and 3180 318 6. Okay, so 6. Let's go with that. So let's say I managed to do all the jumps. The 6th tussock is the last, as far as you can tell in the thick mist. Only water now stretches ahead of you. What is more, a small skiff lies at rest despite being apparently unanchored, a short way off to your right. Would you swim to the skiff or make your way back to the tussocks? So I'm going to get to the skiff because that sounds interesting, doesn't it? Skiff 279. Skiff. Nothing is that simple. A monstrous alligator cuts through the water towards you. You dive under the water to attack its soft underbelly. If you win, you haul yourself panting into the skiff. It is beautifully preserved, but in style and build it looks ancient. There are no oars. Excuse me. Hello. Right, I'm back again. Sorry about that. I might get another phone call, by the way, so just apologize in advance. Right, so I was in the middle of the alligator attack. Yes, I was swimming across to the skiff. So if you win, you haul yourself panting into the skiff. It is beautifully preserved, but in style and build it looks ancient. There are no oars, and there is no other way of moving the boat yourself. Then you see a slot, which is evidently for money. If you have no money, or if you decide not to trust this alarming dinghy any longer, you can swim safely back to a tussock and return the way you came. Turn to 29. Okay. Or if you pay, will you put 1 gold piece or 2 gold pieces? Now, the fact that it says 2 different things happening if you put 1 or 2, is that indicating that it's if you put 1, you might get dumped somewhere, or if you pay 2, you get to where you're supposed to go. I'm not going to be a miser about this, and I'm going to pay 2 gold pieces, but let's see, just 247. 1 gold piece or 173 2 gold pieces. I'm going to pay 2 gold pieces and see where we get with 2 gold. In the back of the skiff, the vague outline of a man appears. His sightless eyes gleam red as he says, "What is your wish? Shall I take you to my master or away from here? Do let him take you to his master, whoever that may be. Turn to 247. Alternatively, you may not feel comfortable or away from here. Turn to 367. Yeah. Alternatively, you may not feel comfortable with the situation, decide to swim back to the tussock. So again, you can go back there. Master 247, master, or 367, away. Obviously, I have to take him to his master because that sounds interesting. The skiff glides effortlessly over the lake without creating so much as a ripple on the water until it comes to rest with a gentle bump against the rotting hull of an ancient longship. You climb out of the skiff and into the ship. The skiff floats away again. The ship has clearly been used for a royal burial. In the very middle of the ship lies an ancient skeleton, and tattered rags of once fine robes hang from its ribs, arms, and legs. A jeweled crown has rolled off its head and is lying a little way from it. On the deck, in one bony claw, it clutches a metal cylinder. The ship is lying beached on the lake shore, so you can leave it without difficulty. Will you clamber ashore, try on the crown, or take the cylinder? Now, the cylinder is what I'm curious about, because that seems like it could be a key. So, I'm going to put my options here. 1, 2, and 3, and this map is going to get so messy if I keep playing this over and over. So 188 shore, 307 crown. I'm always a bit skeptical about wearing crowns of dead people because sometimes it's the crown that actually made them die. Or cylinder, 232 cylinder. So I'm going to go for the skill cylinder, 232, and see what we find. You snatch the cylinder and jump back quickly in case anything happens. Nothing does, except that you broke off one of the skeleton's fingers when you took the cylinder. Oh, poor thing. One end of the cylinder has a sun engraved on it, which is one of the symbols on the door, by the way, to Arachnos' lair. Together with the number 55. So this is clearly, in my opinion, 232, cylinder, sun, and 55. Key. I'm going to put key here because I'm quite sure that 2 is one of the keys. So now I've got 2 out of 3 keys. I still have to find the third one. You stow the cylinder safely in your pouch. Will you now try on the crown after saving your game? Obviously, I'm going to check and see what happens. You back away from the skeleton before trying the crown on, in case the action triggers it back to life or something. Yeah, well, this is book 55 in the series. Obviously, this kind of thing, wearing crowns willy-nilly, has been quite a hazardous action in many of these game books in the past. One that I remember quite well, that I quite like, is the colorful non-victorious ending in Forest of Doom, where putting on a crown makes you into a demon king, and you have to be the demon king for life until somebody comes along and kills you, frees you from your misery, and then of course takes over as the new demon king. Great fun, yes. 232, yes. Oh, hang on, 307. Yeah, I'd already moved on to the crown. 307. Sorry, didn't have my. I was holding my finger bookmark there, and I forgot to move to the new paragraph. But the skeleton lies as still as ever, and nothing untoward happens. After a while, you remove the crown, and you feel some power impelling you to put it back on the skeleton's head, rather than take it with you. Outwardly, you feel no different, but this selfless act means that your luck and skill are restored to their initial levels, both luck and skill. Luck, especially, of course, since you've used that so much. I'm going to put crown there as, so that's skill, luck, in it. Will you now take the cylinder from the skeleton prince's hand or leave the ship? So, of course, I've done the cylinder. Oh, hang on. I haven't mapped this out properly at 232 cylinder. So these are like so, and of course 188. So that leaves only the option of going to 188 in the end there. So 188 and leave. So now I only need to find out where is the last key. So you leap down from the rotting hull onto the spongy ground. You take out your compass and check your bearings. The contours of the lake shoreline offer you the choices only of going east or north. 346 or hang on, east is 207. Do I have any of these before? Don't think so. What I do have is a shortage of space. So 207 east or 346 north. Okay. So I'm going to go east 207. Well, hang on, I have seen 207 before. Where did I see 207? Oh, there it is. Okay. So 207 is over here. Right. 4346. Okay. So then I got to 24. What happened on 24? Oh yes, of course. Now I changed my mind here because I looked and checked that I see if I was missing something if I didn't go this way. So that means that I'll go to 24 now and do so. Yeah. So if you go to north here, where you can go west into the swamp, of course you miss the key, but still when you get the key you get back to where you were. So this looks like this game is shaped along loops and shortcuts, which is one way to design a game where if you to make the wrong turn you actually get faster to the end. Sounds like someone at the door. You get faster to the end, but you miss something crucial. So rather than the branching and rejoining, you have these little loops, which is a way to design a game that I quite like, actually, I must say. I'm just going to check what that was at the door. There might have been some interesting mail. So I'll be right back with you. Just a minute. Right, I am back. No, there was nobody there, which indicates to me that it's actually a bit windy now, and it was the wind that made a noise. Sometimes it rattles the letter slot on our door, which is very annoying. Sometimes in the middle of the night I have to tape it up because it makes too much noise. Anyway. Yes, 24. You pause after your ordeal and take out your compass to decide where to go next. A slight noise behind you makes you whirl around and you face a beast you recognize as a Hakon. So it seems that some beast has just been randomly strewn about, and many of these monsters are actually really hard to beat as well. So although I like the narrative structure and the looping style of the path, I don't know. It sounds like it might be a little bit imbalanced, possibly because of the battles and also the excessive use of luck in some of these bits. This bear-like creature always hunts near water since it lives mainly on fish. but it is not averse to eating warm-blooded creatures. It rears up on its hind legs, its snout wrinkling as its mouth opens in an ear-splitting roar. Hakon 7 and 10. Let's see, where are we? 7, 10. To your dismay, your compass is irretrievably lost during this fight. If you win, turn to 311. That indicates to me that that is also a wrong turning. Or is it? Because you lose your compass, unless you don't need it anymore. 311. So 311. A short while later, you find yourself in the middle of a particularly dense patch of mist. Parts of it seem to be swaying to and fro like ghostly candle flames flickering in a draught. This is unnerving because you can feel no breezes to cause this motion. Then the merfolk talk to you in strange half-whispering, half-whistling voices. "Follow me," they say. "Follow me." You try to talk to them, but they do not understand. If you have a whistle which will let you talk to them, you will know where to turn to next. Otherwise, will you follow them or not? So, this might again then be the right way to go. I'm just going to put in my options here and make my boxes a bit smaller now. So it's 47, 2, 5, 3, or because I have the whistle, it's also 3, 3, 3 is the secret paragraph I'm going to. So I'm going to 3, 3, 3 and see where that leads me, or where they lead me, indeed. You blow on the whistle to signal your agreement to the idea of following them. They lead you safely out of the northwestern reaches of the marsh. Turn to 281. Have I seen 281 before? I thought I maybe had, but no. Okay. 281. I'll just put that there. 281. You have reached the northwestern edge of the marsh. Regain 2 luck points for surviving the mists and the marsh, plus 2 luck. If you had any tinder, you find that it is now too damp to use. You throw it away and gather more. As you forage, you allow the sunshine to warm you until your conscience pricks you to get a move on. Princess Telessa is waiting for you, and the fate of the whole world depends on you. The whole world. Oh, yes, yes, because a single princess being kidnapped in a single kingdom, a single small kingdom is, of course, something that on which the whole fate of the whole world is predicated. Of course, that's not entirely true, because what it makes the fate of the world hinges on is, of course, the defeat of Arachnos, which, of course, is not. The princess is just an excuse, isn't it, to go after him, really. You can regain 3 stamina points for your rest, but you have also picked up some leeches in the marsh. The number you roll on 1 dice... Oh, hang on. If I get leeches, that means that the poison I ingested earlier should be gone now, because the leeches can do that sort of thing, can't they? Let's see. You feel you're getting quite close to Arachnos' lair. 3 ways forward look promising. You can go northwest, north, or northeast. Is this something that I have seen before? Any of these ways? 96, 270, and 126. No. And there is also a question, which is very important now. How is it possible to get this key and the key that I got last time in the same playthrough? Also a good question. No, it's 281. So right now I am at 281. So you know what I'm going to do? is I'm going to have a quick look and see if there's anything I've missed down here in the mist, as it were, that is crucial to the game. Or if I am on the right track again, but still, of course, one key missing. So I do apologize that I'm being a little bit uncommunicative right now, but I'm just having a quick look. Doesn't look like that actually makes much of a difference. Looks like you end up circling back. Same place, yes. So I'm still wondering where is the third key and how do I get from this place to where it is, and also how do I get to where I found the other key as well. That is the big question. Well, so anyway, 281, and I can go northwest, north, or northeast. Okay. I'll put those options up here, which sounds very risky, but there you go. I mean, map-wise, it sounds very risky, and this is going to be one of the most interesting and hardest to read maps I've ever made. 96 northwest, 270 north, or 126 northeast. I'm going to head northeast. The damp air on the fringes of the marsh has raised a plentiful crop of toadstools in the land you are now crossing. You feel tempted to try some, except, seriously, do you? No, that's rubbish. Any game that tells you that you feel tempted to try toadstools is, let's be honest, stupid, because everyone would know that through all of history that if you eat the wrong kind of toadstool, you will die. So you don't just try them. Will you sample some green spotted toadstools, blue spotted, or red spotted? Will you resist the temptation and press on? I'm going to press on. Let's see, 1, 2, 5. Oh, hang on. Yes, 1, 2, 6. Yes, I was looking at the wrong paragraph there for a moment. So we have 2, 4, 5, 1, 3, 6, or 3, 3, 0. Everyone knows, of course, the red spotted ones aren't good. Or 69. I'm painting myself into a corner here. 69. You're walking through the land of the flintskins. Oh, hang on. 69. We already have 69. Okay, so this is where the roads merge up and you get to where you get the second key. Okay, so now I know how to get this key and this key. Where is the third key is the big question, because is there anywhere I can go that I haven't passed through that I can find the third key is the big question. So let's go backtrack a little bit again and see what happened. So down here where you went west to go into the swamp, where you got key number 2, I will call it now. You could go north, and that's where you sort of found the will-o'-the-wisp, so the one that you could follow with a flute and get out of the swamp. And from there you can get to the flint skins. Okay, so maybe there's something else down here. So I'm going to try 361, which is turning north from that point, or east maybe. What does it say on 34 now? I got 2 norths. Oh no, that's from 89. Okay, so that's not from there, but it's from this point, so 89. Excuse me again. Lots of breaks today. Sorry about that. Right, I'm back, and so my plan was, I get distracted all the time now, so I've almost forgot what I was doing, so I had to double check. And I was planning to go north instead of west here to see if that leads me to somewhere where I might find the other, or the third and last key. And I apologize again that I'm going a bit back and forth now, but I think that I will want to just keep this as one actual playthrough with flexibility. So second episode now, there might be another episode at some point if I don't finish this today, but I'm trying to make this one sort of unified whole where I'm trying to solve the puzzle of this book without playing over and over again from the beginning. Anyway, there is a breed of orc that lives only in dank, gloomy places, by underground pools or in marshes like this. They build small settlements of crude huts on stilts above the mud, and they eat raw fish and any other small creatures they can kill. In the thick mist, you stumble into such a village before you know it. Luckily, most of the warriors are away on a hunting trip, but you still have to fight 2 marsh orcs at once. As soon as you lose 4 or more stamina points, turn to 43. If you win, turn to 296. So I'm going to put those 2 options here, 43 or 296. The fight has taken place near one of the stilted huts of the village, and you may have caused the hut to collapse during the fight. If the hut is still standing... Oh, I see. That's what happens if you go to 43 probably. If the hut is still standing, you may turn to 385 to search it if you wish. Alternatively, you can try to search another hut. So I'm going to go to 385. You can also go to 6. Or leave the village altogether and continue north. Turn to 207. We know 207. We've seen 207 so many times now. So 207 over here. Or turn west, turn to 34. So that is down that way. Okay. So 385. So there seems to be quite a small little loop here. Let's see if there's anything in the... There's a ladder under the hut which goes up to a hole in the middle of the floor. As you are climbing the ladder, a female orc pours scalding slops down on your head and shoulders, lose 2 stamina points. You can continue up the ladder or go back down and try another hut. So 1, 110, or hang on, or 6. Or you may leave the village and... Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 110. I'm going to persist now and see if there's anything here. And if there isn't, then I know that this is, The orc rains blows on your head with a large wooden spoon, as you do, but you shrug her off. You knock her unconscious and search the hut. You find a pot of stew simmering over an open fire. The combination of red-spotted toadstools and fish smells surprisingly good. Oh, red-spotted toadstools. Now I'm actually getting a clue to which toadstool is edible. And you quickly gulp down 2 stamina points worth of sustenance. You also find 3 gold pieces and a medallion inscribed with the letter A, which you may take if you wish. So that is the same medallion that I've got before and that I'm actually wearing. If you want to have a look in another hut, turn to 6. If you want to leave the village, you can go to the north or the west. So I'm going to check out another hut as well, see if there's anything else here. I somehow doubted, actually, that there would be a key here. You turn to a nearby hut, but a black feathered arrow wings towards you from an unseen archer. It just grazes you, but it puts you off searching the village. So again, that is a small loop there, and you get a medallion, of course, medallion that you might already have. That at some point will be important, and that will be when you get and meet Anarchos. Arachnos, not Anarchos. I'm wondering if the medallion is, this is quite common in these kind of books, isn't it? That it's some kind of control of slaves and minions, that the medallion might actually cause me problems as well. So we'll see when we get there whether I will pretend to have not worn it or worn it in a specific way above or below my clothes as well. And that means that at the moment I've actually covered this whole bit down here, the nest, the cave, the swamp, the place with the skiff, the orc camp, and there are fewer and fewer possibilities now. So over here there's a place I can go north that I haven't checked out yet, so I'm going to check that out. 3, 4, 6. The marsh seems endless as you plod on for countless hours, snatching a few hours of fitful sleep from time to time, although the light never seems to change in this eerie mist. You are gradually veering... No, you notice that in avoiding the worst areas of bog, you are gradually veering west. Will you allow yourself to do this, or will you correct your course? 281 or 73. So 281 is over here. Or 73 is a course correction, which takes us again somewhere we haven't been before. You plunge deep into the bog. It becomes increasingly hard to walk. At every step you have to extract your foot with a squelch from thick mud. This is exhausting, and by the time you reach the other side you have lost 2 stamina points. Turn to 24. 24. Another reason why I want to press on now, by the way, and play this and try to exhaust possibilities is that if I play this again, there's absolutely no way I will be able to read my map. Hakon. We've seen the Hakon before. Which means we've been to 24 before. That is over here. Okay. So again, that doesn't lead us anywhere closer to where we just walk moving in a circle again. So that is also a dead end, as it were. So again, still, we don't know where the third key is. So we exhausted that section and this one, and that means we get over to the mushrooms again. I know now that the red spotted ones apparently are edible. But does anything exciting happens? Doesn't look like it. There was an option here for going northwest as well. Or north. So what happens if we go northwest? Before you have travelled far, you encounter a Craddock, and you soon wish you hadn't. These are 2-headed monsters, one of whose heads is dragon-like, while the other is ogreish. You know that in the past you've heard rumours about some special thing they do, but you can't remember what it is. And anyway, there is no time to think now, as the monster is charging at you, dragon head breathing fire. It races towards you on all 4 legs like a malformed lizard. I almost said wizard there. 79. You wipe your sword clean on the grass of the moor and turn to walk away. With a roar, the Craddock rears up behind you and scorches you with its breath. Now you remember, a Craddock regenerates unless it is killed by having one of its heads chopped off. But which head is it? If you win with your final stroke, will you chop off the dragon head or the ogre head? So, 168, 147. So I did the ogre head, and that leads to 69. If I do 168, do I have to fight it again? Just checking now. No. If I do 168, that is actually the end. So if I chop off the dragon head, which means again that is a road that leads to the village. Again, you only have one key at this point. Last chance for this section of the game. If this is not where I find the third key, it has to be further up and I missed something, or it has to be further back and I missed something. So I am going to $270. It's 270, it's a 370, 270, yeah. Tonight you rest in the comfort of bracken and heather, restore 2 stamina points. But Grinches get among your provisions. Grinches are small weasel-like creatures that are more of a nuisance than a danger. In the morning you find that the sneaky creatures have spoiled 2 meals worth of your provisions, blah blah blah. You curse and carry on. About mid-morning of the next day you come to the ruins of an ancient town. Will you bypass the town by heading east, turn to 69 again, or walk along its eerily deserted main street, turn to 393. So okay, so there is one more thing here I can check out. 393. You peer into empty windows as you walk along, but there is nothing of interest to be seen. Even the furniture has long rotted away to matchwood. Just dank stones remained, blackened by age and lichen, and streaked with dripping moisture. Some of the houses are still almost intact, but the majority have completely collapsed. One semi-ruin was evidently once a building of some grandeur, perhaps the town hall. You duck inside, but it is as empty and gloomy as everywhere else. All the same, will you explore it or carry on down the street? So I suppose I will explore it. 85 or 219. Only the ground floor and first floors of the building remain, and the first floor consists of just a landing, which is reached by stone stairs from the entrance hall where you are standing, plus a couple of rooms off it. The ruin is open to the sky, and the marble floor of the entrance hall has partially collapsed. You can climb the stairs to the landing or leave the building after all. So I'm going to 138. It's been ages since the stairway experienced anything like your weight, and it begins to collapse. The steps, massive blocks of limestone, are wobbling under your feet as if you were an earthquake. You're starting to fall. Will you jump for the next step up or down? 358 or 358 or 293. Up. Test your luck. So if you're unlucky, you go to 293, which means that it's 375. So going up is the correct thing to do. Presuming it's correct to be in here in the first place, of course. Your fingers find a secure hold on the step above as half a dozen huge blocks behind you crash all the way down into the basement. If your current stamina is 14 or more, turn to 49, otherwise turn to 293 again. So 49. You manage to pull yourself up onto the step. You feel unsafe here, so you clamber up to the landing at the top of the stairs. You can go no higher in the building, and you find that only one of the rooms is safe to enter. But there you make an interesting discovery. The collapse of the staircase has opened up a long-forgotten hiding place in the wall of the room. Inside is a bottle of potion and a sheet of papyrus, preserved for all these years in the airtight compartment. There is ancient Kabishian writing on the papyrus, which tells you that the potion is a potion of invisibility. Add 1 luck point. Plus 1 luck, and we got 49. Potion invisibility. Now, how will you get down from here? You can jump down from the stairway onto what is left of the ground floor, or you can jump through the hole in the ground floor into the flooded basement and pray that the water is deep enough. If you have a rope, you can find a secure place to tie it and let yourself down safely to the floor. You can leave the building, but you will also have to leave the rope behind. I still believe maybe there's use for the rope later, so I'm going to jump 1 1, so 1 1 5 or 1 5 7. I'm wondering if 1 5. So I'm going to jump down in the water and see. So that is 1 5 7. You land safely in the cold, oily water. It is so deep that your feet don't touch the bottom when you jump in. However, there are 2 problems. First, the water is cursed. Excuse me. If you drank water from a well earlier in your adventure, you will have well written on your adventure sheet. The poison it contained is now triggered and you must lose 6 stamina points. That's a bit contrived, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, if you are still alive, you face a second problem. It is going to be very difficult to get out of here. The floor of the entrance hall is high above you and you can hear the sounds and then see the heads of wraiths waiting for you up there. Where they come from? That's a bit random again. You swim around for a while but can find no obvious solution to your problem except that there are enough finger holes in the stonework for you to stand a chance of climbing up to the ground floor. Some of the wraiths are now beginning to tumble into the water in their eagerness to reach you, but they can't swim. Okay. And their bodies immediately decay on hitting the water. The stench is awful. You climb the wall in front of you, behind you, to your left or to your right. Okay. That's a bit random again. So some of these lead to certain death. Let's see. Where was? Oh, hang on. I'm on 57. I lost my place here. So there's 4 options. So that is 108, 167, 51, or 274. So just going through these, 108 is fatal. 51. You have to fight a wraith. But 167, let's see what that was, 67. When you have scrambled some way up the wall, the bit of it you are clinging to collapses, but inwards, not back towards the water. You land in a chute and slide out of control, down, and the chute ends in thin air. You are sure that the moment of death has arrived for you. Turn to 71. I thought that was quite an interesting one. You are falling, floating magically down a hole which is lit by the phosphorescent glow of the rocks. Side tunnels lead off from the hole. Will you take the side tunnel which you are approaching, or will you wait? So I'm going to have to move 71 up here, I suppose, just to get some space now. 71. So 372. Or wait, 98. I'm going to check out the side tunnel right away, see what happens. You land easily in the tunnel and trigger a trap. A slab of rock crashes down in front of you, blocking the way ahead and raising a swarm of hornets. You race out of the tunnel, but have to lose 3 stamina points to the vicious stings. Moreover, the swarm pursues you for some distance down the hole, so you have to ignore the next side tunnel and turn to 210. I'm wondering if that is a sign that I should have taken the next side tunnel. Oops. Was that the right? 71, 98, 372. Yes, 210. I'm going to see what happens if I wait for the next side tunnel, since that is how I'm playing it now. Another side tunnel is coming up. Will you take it or continue down? So 172 is another option that I wouldn't have if I took the first one. So that indicates to me that might be the important one. A short way along the tunnel, you stumble across the fresh corpse of an orc, no doubt the victim of some feud among Arachnos' troops. He has nothing worth taking except a helmet engraved with Arachnos A symbol. You can put it on if you like. So it looks like I'm getting more pieces of the Arachnos kit, as it were. So helmet A. So I've got the medallion and the helmet. 172, and then we go to 210. Faint rumblings are issuing from the mouth of the next side tunnel to appear. Will you enter this tunnel or continue descending? So I'm going to have to move my mapping over here, I think. So 2, 3, 4, or 1, 1, 1. I'm going to check out the side tunnel because I'm curious now what's going on here. The rumblings are coming from Arachnos' forge. You veer off into the mouth of this tunnel only to find the slopes sharply downwards. So again, you find actually a helmet with the letter A. But here you can actually go into the passage outside. So maybe this is where I'm supposed to leave the tunnel. 2, 3, 4. So again, it's a kind of a maze thing going on here. So which makes it very hard to discern whether I am following the right track or not. I think I need to move this to a new page actually, so because it's getting too confusing. Maybe I should put it in the corner down here. So I'm going to do a PTO there. So we got 71 going to 372 going to 210 going to 98, 172, and 101, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang on, those. That was not from 172, that was from there. So we've got two places you can get a helmet now. So of course the one in 172 is not essential. Okay, so now you can either go to the passage and turn left or right, 176, 176 or 82, left or right, or follow on down. So I'm not going to try the passage first now and go left, 176. Before you have gone far, an orc busily looking over his shoulder almost bumps into you. However, he recovers quickly and pulls out a vicious looking sword. 2 gold pieces. You carry on down the tunnel, but with increasing caution. As soon as you begin to hear what sounds like a huge army massing, you round a corner and duck down behind a boulder in reaction to an astonishing sight. A huge cavern whose roof is too far above you to be seen in the smoky distance is filled with countless campfires, tents, and all the baggage of an army. Thousands of orcs, goblins, black hearts, dark elves, trolls, and ogres are milling around. Cruel officers lash their men to force them to work. From at least 2 places, the screams of tortured men and animals arise. It is a vision of hell. There is certainly no way through here, and you must return the way you came. Turn to 131. Okay. You turn a corner to your left, but after only a few more meters, you find your way blocked by smooth rock. There is a straight crack down the center of the rock, though, so you are sure this is some kind of door. You look around and find a lever set into the wall. It looks as if you can move it up or down. I'm going to move back to proper squares now. So 3, 2, 6, up, 2, 2, 8, down. I'm going to go down, 2, 2, 8. A hatch in the ceiling slides open and an iron eater drops onto your head. This jelly-like creature consumes anything made of iron in a matter of seconds. If you were wearing a helmet, you aren't anymore. If you have a spare helmet, though, you may put it on. You shrug the creature to the floor, where you finish it off with a couple of slicing strokes from your sword. You now push the lever all the way up. Turn to 3, 2, 6. I did have 2 helmets, of course, so that's all right, but the door opens with a grinding noise, and you step through it into the gloom on the tunnel beyond. The door slams shut behind you, so that you are now in pitch blackness. If you have a tinderbox, flint, and some oil, you can make a crude lamp, or you may have an actual lamp. Otherwise, you must reduce your skill by 1 point until you are told you are back in a well-lit area, if you ever get there. Progressing mainly by your sense of touch, you come across, turning to the left, a rank smell is issuing from it. Will you take this turning, turn to 153, or continue straight? 94, or 153. I'm going to check out the smell. The tunnel curves until it becomes clear that this is no more than a short crescent-shaped diversion from the main tunnel, and that the 2 passages will soon join up again. The distinctive clicking sound of the tough plating of a giant millipede lets you know whose tunnel it is. Giant millipedes are fiercely territorial beasts and resent any intrusion into their homes except by edible creatures. Millipedes, of course, by definition, are herbivorous, and centipedes are carnivorous, by the way. Just it's not the number of legs. You can't escape. You can escape at any time. Blah blah blah. To escape, turn to 54. If you defeat the millipede first and then advance to rejoin the main tunnel, turn to 275. Okay, so 154 escape and 275 main tunnel. So that's different from 94. I'm just curious now what happens if you don't take this little way. Right. This book is so full of monsters. It's almost like there's they just sort of, ooh, let's put in a monster. Um, and many of them are really powerful as well. So after many twists and turns, the gloomy tunnel leads eventually to the lair of a pool crawler. This monster is the reason for the security doors you passed earlier in the tunnel. It lies bubbling in a pool of stagnant water, and Arachnos feeds it with the occasional orc or troll from his army. Two baleful eyes appear above the surface of the pool and size you up. The monster does not seem concerned with what it sees. It rears up out of its bed of mud and bones like an enormous toad. The warts on its mottled back hiss on contact with air and give off a sickly sweet odor. It whips out a long spiny tongue towards you. If a millipede is pursuing you, turn to 217, otherwise you have to fight the monster. So I suppose the millipede could have been a distraction, so if you escape from the millipede, you lead the millipede here, and it eats the millipede instead of you, I guess. So I'm going to put 217 milli, and then if you win, you go to 201. Few battles have come tougher than that. Well, there's been loads of them in this. If I'd actually rolled for battles, I would have been dead ages ago. You feel elated at defeating the loathsome pool crawler, regain 1 luck point. You leap across the pool, using the belly-up corpse as a stepping stone. The tunnel continues beyond the pool and ends at another door like the one through which you entered this tunnel. There is an identical lever in the wall. You check the ceiling, walls, and floor, but can see no obvious traps. Would you push the lever up or pull it down? And it would be the opposite, wouldn't it, of the other one? Maybe. 335 up or 305 down. So I'm going to pull it down, push it down. 305. Or not. In the wall behind the lever lives a tiny Gering snake. By pulling the lever down, you have allowed it to slither at lightning speed down the lever and sink its fangs into your finger. You will be dead within 30 seconds. I'm still going to press on though, because I'm going to save my... Of course, I save my game, obviously, all the time. I'm quite sort of determined to see if I can get through this now and find the third key. So, the door glides silently open and you step through into a well-lit tunnel. You walk on, but soon from up ahead you can hear the din of a large number of soldiers, and you see a glow coming from the huge cavern in which they are encamped. When a turning appears to your left, therefore, you decide to take it. You now find yourself in a short corridor which ends at a grandiose set of double doors. The sickening carvings on the doors and the motif of the letter A interlaced leave you in no doubt that this way leads to the chambers of Arachnos himself. It sounds like I'm already inside the bit that I should get to by using the keys on the door. However, there are 3 other doors in the corridor, with a signboard sticking out over each doorway. The signs read Ophis, Otus, and Oman. You've already met Otus. The other 2 must be his half-giant brothers. You can see all this through the mesh of a steel net, which is attached by cords to bells on each of the 3 doors. There is no way to get through here except by attracting the attention of the 3 half-giants. You boldly jangle the bells and wait. In no time, the 3 half-giants come bustling out of their rooms. They are huge. Knotted muscles bulge on their arms, and their chests seem about to break through their leather vests. One finger is an axe, another a crossbow, and the third a club studded with sharpened nails. It is Otus who peers at you through the mesh. Are you wearing an A helmet? If you are, turn to 396. If you're not, turn to 19. I do believe I am wearing one. It didn't actually... Did it say when I picked up the helmet that you could wear it or not? Or just take it with you? I can't remember, actually. But I'm going to say that I am, that I was. Okay, so... 396, a helmet or not. Otis fails to recognize you from your earlier meeting. He demands your pass. Would you present a moon symbol, an A medallion, or an arrow? If you have none of these, your deception is exposed and the giants refuse to let you through. So, so 370 moon. That's one I haven't found, by the way. So I've got an A medallion, but I don't have the other things. You pull out the medallion and dangle it in the air in front of Otis's eyes. This does the trick. He signals to Oman and the steel mesh net is drawn up by the pulley. You walk under it and are now faced by 3 enormous half-giants who are demanding to know your business. If you know a secret about 2 of them, add the number of the paragraph where you learn that secret to the number of this paragraph, then turn to the paragraph with that number. Otherwise, turn to 70. This is where I cannot really, in good conscience, keep jumping around and trying to find the right path, because now I am missing some crucial piece of information about this, and I will have to go to 70 rather than secret paragraph. I don't know which one it is. 70, the end, I'm guessing. Or not. You'll have to fight all 3 half-giants at once. Okay. If by some miracle you win, and if you have a truth stone, you can use it on the dying Otis and demand to be told how to defeat Arachnos. If you win but you do not have a truth stone, turn to 284. So that's interesting. I mean, because I still think maybe you didn't need to use the truth stone in the beginning. So I could, for instance, just for the sake of not having to play this again now, say that I play it all the way from the beginning. I don't use a truth stone. The fact that Arachnos is who I'm after, I don't think it makes a big difference. 284. So truth or no truth. I'm going to pretend I have the truth stone at this point. Otis grits his teeth and tries to resist the mysterious power of the glowing truth stone. He cannot quite resist, but he manages to give an enigmatic answer to your question, rather than the plain truth. His mind seems almost to be wandering, reviewing his life, as one is said to do at the moment of death. My parents died, he croaks, after 1/6 of my life. Then for another 12 I wandered the wastes until Arachnos found me. You could call that my coming of age, I suppose. For a 7th part, I labored in his mines until he saw my potential and promoted me. I found a mate then, and 5 years later we had a child. He died, though, 8 years ago when he was half my age. You cry out, but how old are you? How old were you, you add, as his eyes glaze over. Try to work out his age, then turn to 284. So, we have a math puzzle. I'm not sure what I feel about sort of meta puzzles like this, but I suppose in this case it's rather okay because it's a kind of a riddle, so it's not the worst kind of. I'm just sort of double check if I'm in focus now. It feels like maybe I'm a little bit out of focus, and also my battery is of my phone is dying. Hang on. Oh, looks like I've lost connection to my camera. Hang on, this might do something strange with the picture. If I do this now, it might. Yeah. Do like that. Yeah, I'll be back. Okay, so just to double check now that we are actually in focus. Yeah, that looks okay. Okay. So we have 1/6, 1/12, 1/7 plus 5 plus 8 plus half x, of course. So we got 1/6 x plus 1/12 x plus 1/7 x plus half x plus 5 plus 8. Unless, actually, there's an ambiguous thing here. 8 years ago, when he was half my age, does it mean that he was half his age 8 years ago, or half the age that he is now? But that makes it slightly more complicated, doesn't it? Because then you actually have x minus 8 equals yeah, no, actually that gets very confusing. Okay, so why 1/7? That's just annoying, isn't it? So the common denominator is quite high because of the 7. So obviously those can be joined together, but the 7 is so that's 2 by 6. So the common denominator should be 6 times 7, 42. Yeah, so 42. Except no, it's not, because of 12. 72. 84. So 84 is a common denominator, I suppose, then. So so that's 14 x plus 6. Let's do 14 plus 6 plus 12 plus 42 84th plus 13. So now we got 14 plus x, of course, 6 plus 12 plus 42. So that's 74. 84's x plus 13. Okay. Yeah, equals x. So that means that 13 equals 10 over 84 x. So that means that so 13 divided by so that means x equals 13 divided by 10 over 84, which is the same as multiplied by 84 over 10. So that is 13 times 84 divided by 10. So 13 times 84 divided by 10 is 109.2. That can't be right, obviously. So I'm wondering if the half age was 8 years ago. So this is so annoying. Okay, I don't mind a few puzzles, but there's, yeah. My mind's I'm still not used to doing mathematics puzzles these days, or even just simple algebra like this. It's just haven't done it for so long. Because that means in that case that x minus 8 divided by 2 plus 8. Because if it's 8 years ago, if the kid was half his age that he was 8 years ago, then I had to replace this bit with half x with x minus 8 divided by 2. Which starts getting really annoying, to be honest. So it's around I think I've been playing this too long today. I'm getting a bit tired. So I can't think properly, and also I'm messing up my mathematics here. I think, and I can't. Yeah, I think I need to eat something. So this is probably a good point to call it the day. I'm not sure if I've been looking now for so long for this third key. I'm not entirely sure if I want to keep looking. I think I've got to that kind of stage now. I do apologize for the people who really like my fighting fantasy playthrough videos, but the thing is that I think I'm getting a little bit tired, or sometimes of it. My threshold for getting a bit tired of a book is so much less than it used to be, I think, back in the day. So my patience for these game books is waning somewhat. So, and of course I need to enjoy my time doing it. Sorry, I'm just tidying up here as I go along. And so while I actually quite enjoyed playing this book, I'm not sure if I will enjoy sort of barging through and getting to the end. So I think I might just leave that for now and move on to bigger and better things, or other things rather, to other books that maybe I feel more like completing. But I must say that Deathmoor surprised me a little bit because of what I've heard about it. It is actually, it seems to me, a quite well-structured game book with a good puzzle aspect and a little bit tricky to find the right way through. It's one of those that actually rewards multiple playthroughs and good mapping, and where if you have the persistence and patience for it, which I might be lacking right now, although I think it's partly also because my blood sugar is low because I'm really hungry. I think it's one of those that might actually be really enjoyable to play. And certainly it's one of the most enjoyable books I've played lately. So at the time of recording this, of course, bearing in mind that I am recording them now a little bit out of order. So I'm playing this after I played Mage Hunter, just to be clear in what order I played them. And so I enjoyed it better than Mage Hunter. I felt more like trying to persist in getting to the end of this one than I did for Mage Hunter, because Mage Hunter put me off a little bit with some of the mechanics of the body swapping, I think, was part of it. And also more admin in keeping track of things also put me off a little bit in Mage Hunter. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, even though it was a little bit sort of hopscotch around the map, trying to figure out where the missing bits were. But I will be back with more fighting fantasy playthroughs, and maybe one of these days I will also make one where I do it properly again, because sometimes I feel like it. Sometimes I have the patience for a specific book to do that. Other times I just get a little bit, yeah. I don't necessarily want to do that all the time. So, in any case, I've really enjoyed trying out Deathmoor and then seeing what this one is like. And I hope you will join me next time for more fighting fantasy. And please like, share, comment, subscribe. Join me on Patreon, buy my poetry books, buy my music, buy my artwork, all those things if you want to support my channel. And I'll see you next time. And goodbye for now. Bye bye.